Members, good morning. It's the appointed time. We have a quorum. I call the meeting to order, the Special Finance Committee meeting. There are two sessions this morning. It will end at 12:35. The purpose of the Special Finance Committee meeting is to examine the estimates and expenditure of the government for 25 and 26 fiscal year to ensure that they are seeking a provision no more than is necessary for the execution of approved policies. Let me remind members that all questions will have to be directly related to the draft estimate. Please quote the reply number on the top right-hand corner. If you cannot follow up on questions here, then please give us supplementary written questions and give them to the Secretariat before 7 p.m. tonight. The supplementary questions are limited to follow up on written reply. Let me first welcome the Secretary of the Commerce and Economic Development, Mr. Algernon Yao, and his team. Members, if you would like to ask questions, please press the button. We'll first hear from the Secretary. Chairman, I'm going to briefly go over the key tasks under my bureau in this financial year. I'll go over them by 4 areas. First, support to the National 14th Five-Year Plan in enhancing Hong Kong's status as an international trade center. The second and third areas are on our work in promoting participation in and contribution to the Belt and Road Initiative and the support for Hong Kong to develop into a regional intellectual property trading center, which are also related to the plan. The fourth area covers other measures to boost Hong Kong's economic development. Notwithstanding the various challenges and uncertainties brought by the slackening economy in overseas markets, the impact of geopolitics and the unreasonable tariffs imposed by the U.S. on Hong Kong products, the Hong Kong SAR government is actively consolidating Hong Kong's status as an international trade center through diversified measures. Under one country, two systems, Hong Kong possesses the unique advantage of being well connected to the mainland and the rest of the world. We'll continue to seize the opportunity to strengthen our international ties under the strategy of collaborating with the GBA and tapping into more overseas markets. In the face of a complicated and changing global trade landscape, we'll strive to turn risks into opportunities with a view to promoting the sustainable development of Hong Kong as an international trade center. As mentioned in the budget, we're following up actively with the governments of Malaysia and Saudi Arabia on our plans to establish ETOs in these countries. Invest Hong Kong set up consultant offices in Cairo in July last year and Izmir, Turkey in July this year to bring in capital and enterprises from high-potential emerging markets in the Middle East and North Africa. In addition, the Hong Kong Trade Development Council, TDC, has established a consultant office in Cambodia earlier this year, which is also part of the work on expanding our economic and trade networks. So far, we have signed 9 free trade agreements, FTAs, with 21 economies, including the one signed with Peru last year. Hong Kong has also signed 24 investment agreements with 33 economies, in which the one signed with Bahrain last year entered into force on the 21st of last month, that is March. We'll continue to actively promote our work in this area, including exploring the signing of IAs with Saudi Arabia, Bangladesh, Egypt, and Peru. Since the announcement in last year's budget that Hong Kong would be developed into a multinational supply chain management center, Invest Hong Kong and TDC have already established a high value-added supply chain services mechanism to jointly attract mainland enterprises to set up international or regional headquarters in Hong Kong for managing offshore trading and supply chain. As at February this year, over just 1 year, Invest Hong Kong had organized and co-organized around 20 investment promotion activities in various mainland cities to identify the enterprises wishing to go global and encourage them to leverage Hong Kong as an international or regional headquarters for corporate business supply chains. TDC will provide one-stop professional advisory services to these enterprises and through its overseas offices render on-site support in order to assist them in going global. We'll continue to promote Hong Kong as a multinational supply chain management center. In 2024, Invest Hong Kong assisted 539 enterprises in establishing and expanding their businesses here, representing an increase of over 40% compared with the full-year figure last year. The mainland is the largest place of origin of these enterprises, with the US, the UK, France, and Singapore ranked second to fifth. Last year's figure alone already well exceeded the performance indicator set out in the 2022 policy address on a pro rata basis. Invest Hong Kong will continue to work towards the target. The procedures for accession to the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership (RCEP) agreement was adopted by RCEP Joint Committee in September last year, which is a concrete step to welcome new members. Trade with RCEP members, all of whom are important trading partners, amount to around 70% of our total merchandise trade and around 50% of our total trade in services. Hong Kong has all it takes to join RCEP and is, through our advantages as a logistic, trade and financial centre, able to further enhance regional supply chains and contribute our unique value to RCEP. We'll continue to maintain close liaison with RCEP members and carrying out lobbying work through various platforms to actively strive for early accession to RCEP. Our work in the BNR initiative will continue to consolidate Hong Kong as the functional platform of the BNR initiative. Will continue to organize outbound missions, project matching events, and exchange sessions and seminars to showcase the strength of our professional services, thereby helping Hong Kong enterprises and professional services explore BNR business opportunities. Together with businesses and professional services sectors, we'll further cultivate the association of Southeast Asians, nations, ASEAN and Middle East markets, as well as to explore opportunities in Central Asia, South Asia, and North Africa. The 10th BNR Summit, our annual flagship event, will be held in September this year. We'll encourage different sectors to hold seminars and events around the summit time to create synergy. As announced in the budget, the government will review the IP-related tax deduction arrangements so as to accelerate the development of IP-intensive industries and promote the development of IP trading in Hong Kong. We'll follow up with the FSTB and the Inland Revenue Department on the proposal. The government will also continue to implement measures to strengthen protection for the products of innovation and creativity, R&D, efforts to promote IP commercialization and IP trading, on stronger impetus for our economic development. SMEs' contributions to Hong Kong economy are significant. The government has been helping them meet challenges encountered in the course of economic transformation and enhance their competitiveness through measures like the SME Financing Guarantee Scheme and Bud Fund. In the budget last year, there was an announcement of e-commerce easy, as well as and it was announced last year to expand the geographical coverage to 10 ASEAN countries last month to encourage enterprises to develop e-commerce projects. There was an injection of $1.5 billion into the Bud Fund and the Export Marketing and Trade and Industrial Organization Support Fund, together with the injection of $1 billion into the Bud Fund announced in last year's policy address. This is a testament to the government's commitment to supporting SMEs. The mainland market offers enormous opportunities. The development of e-commerce market is rapid. To address the pain points encountered by Hong Kong enterprises when developing cross-border e-commerce on the mainland, TDC will implement the e-commerce express. In collaboration with large-scale e-commerce or social media platforms, TDC will conduct seminars and research sessions to provide more comprehensive support. The government will draw reference from the model law on electronic transferable records advocated by the UN Commission on International Trade Law and consider legislative amendments to facilitate digitalization of trade documents to consolidate our edge. We're working with the relevant bureau on the preparation work, aiming to submit the proposal to LegCo next year. To consolidate Hong Kong's status as an international trade center, we'll launch the Incentive Scheme for Recurrent Exhibitions 2.0, focusing on attracting new and recurrent international exhibitions of large scale of a convention and exhibition industry and mega event economy. It will be launched in July the 1st this year, subject to approval. We'll engage major stakeholders and announce details in due course. Well, the working group on promoting silver economy, led by the DCS, was established in November 2024. They are taking forward work plans in 5 areas. The working group will report progress to the CE in early 25-26, and they will brief the panel of LegCo in good time. These are the main points of my presentation. We'll be happy to take questions. Thank you. 17 members are queuing to ask questions. Let me read out the names of 1 to 15. First is Ms. Wendy Hong, Mr. Chow Man Kwong, Mr. Kenneth Wong, Mr. Dennis Leung, Mr. Edmund Wong, Mr. Jimmy Ng, Mr. Martin Leung, Ms. Doreen Kong, Mr. Robert Lee, Mr. Chen Yong, Mr. Dominic Lee, Mr. Lo Wai Kwok, Mrs. Regina Ip, Mr. Sunny Tan, who is the 15th. I think that we are able to cover the first 15. Number 16 are 2 different members, the Ma Fong Kwok as well as another member. We'll try to cover everyone. 4 minutes. Ms. Wendy Hong. Thank you. Well, it's the first time that I'm the first one. Well, in the support for economic and trade development, the Bureau has done a lot. It's very important for us to attract enterprises and capital. The exhibition industry is very important. Well, to support the development of this industry, there is the recurrent scheme. Well, the threshold has been relaxed in relation to the incentive scheme for recurrent exhibitions. But I've heard that there are some comments. Previously, the threshold was too low. It's very easy to spend all the subsidy. They think that international exhibitions should be the focus. Overseas buyers should be the target group. They will come to Hong Kong and spend 3 to 5 days here. So with government money spent, this will bring more economic benefit. Will the government set requirements on threshold from the place of origin? Say, for example, the buyers should come from at least 10 countries and the exhibitors should come from 5 countries. Well, we have a free flow of data and information. We have an advantage in international financial center. So we have favorable conditions to develop new outer space economy. We have a satellite service. So from R&Ds to operation, we have an advantage to become a center here. However, when it comes to a satellite, we're talking about sensitive data. So operators are very concerned about manufacturing, R&D, the possibilities of developing this technology, storage and processing of data are received. They are very concerned about relevant requirements. There is no manufacturing basis of satellite here, so they have to source it elsewhere. They are very concerned about import-export requirements of a satellite. If we can relax our requirements, it will be conducive to developing this market. It's said that there will be the streamlining of vetting process in relation to low Earth orbit satellites. So what's the study scope? Will it cover import-export? Will you contact mainland ministries and authorities? Because in this regard, you need support and resources of both places. Say, for example, the launching facilities. You need to conduct studies in order to come up with more facilitating measures.
You have gone past 3 minutes. You asked multiple questions. I think the secretary should just answer one of the questions and then you can provide a written response to the other questions. Thank you. Secretary, thank you. On the CNE industry, convention and exhibition industry, we do want to attract more international exhibitors. As for the details, I'll let Ms. Grace Kwok, the Deputy Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development, want to answer that question. Deputy Secretary. Ms. Kwok, thank you. What the member said is exactly why we are promulgating the ISRE incentive scheme for recurrent exhibitions 2.0, because we have heightened the threshold to 1,500. That is the minimum number of attendees. And we need at least 4 spaces. We would now include Central Harbourfront Event Space and the West Kowloon Cultural District. We are focusing on international exhibitions. From past experience, we observe that we have exhibitors from different parts of the world to come to Hong Kong. So I think we probably don't need a threshold for having exhibitors from different places. All right, thank you. That's my response. I think you can provide a written response on the question about satellites. I have to be fair to other members because we should observe the time limit. Dr. Kennedy Wong, thank you. First of all, I would like to express my appreciation for the CEDB's efforts for promulgating the measures to support SMEs to cope with the United States tariffs and help them expand into the new markets. 2 to 3 days ago, the mainland held a conference on periphery meeting. And President Xi and some senior government officials took part in the meeting. And they said the authorities would increase investment in infrastructure. I believe the peripheral work conference would help us target new markets. So can you engage the ETOs, the economic and trade offices? Can we deploy resources that were originally used for, say, the US market to expand into the emerging markets? Right now, we have 3 ETOs in the United States. But we have 2 offices in Indonesia. One of it is not on the main island. How can we make sure we are expanding the network of ETOs in China? In these countries. If we do not have enough resources within the administration, can we engage the TDC to provide some assistance? Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kennedy Wong. We all along want to expand into other markets. We have the chief executive and other senior government officials leading delegations to ASEAN countries to help us expand into these markets. As you may know, there are calls in the U.S. to close our ETOs. They have yet to implement the measures, but we are prepared for the situation. We will also have more ETOs in Saudi Arabia and Malaysia. We will rationalize our network of ETOs, and we will make a report to members in due course. I think the member's suggestion on working with the TDC is very good indeed. Actually, it's not just the TDC. We can work with Invest Hong Kong and, of course, our ETOs. I think all three parties can come together to better our efforts in attracting businesses and talents to widen our reach. I think Dr. Kennedy Wong's suggestion is very good, and we will continue to work in this regard. And we will deploy manpower to make sure we focus our efforts in these areas. Thank you, Dr. Starry Lee. I would like to thank the Bureau for rising up to the challenges. I hope that you can have measures, if necessary, to support enterprises and the development of Hong Kong. We are all concerned about the uncertainties brought about by the trade war. In the policy address, it was said that we should continue to deepen our ties with various countries and regions. And the third plenary session has actually created favorable conditions for us to create an international hub for high caliber talents. It is all about creating and consolidating ties, and the CEDBS at the front line. In the government work report and the third plenary session, the resolution adopted in the session, it is said that we should deepen our work in these areas. So what is the government's latest strategy in the area? We need to, of course, minimize the impact of trade wars by lessening our reliance on the relatively hostile markets. What is the government's stance on my views? Thank you. Secretary, 2 questions. Thank you, Dr. Starry Lee, for your questions. On deepening ties with other countries and regions and expanding into new markets, that is what we have been doing all along. We have been working well also with mainland authorities to make sure companies can work together and go global together. We have led delegations to different places, Malaysia, Germany. We also went to San Francisco, the Bay Area. The Belt and Road Office has also cooperated with the mainland authorities to lead delegations to Xinjiang and Kazakhstan. In May, the chief executive will visit the Middle East. Again, the delegation would include some representatives from mainland enterprises. As I said in my opening remarks, we are expanding into the Middle East and the ASEAN market, and the ASEAN has 7 countries. The chief executive led delegations to Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam. We have all along been trying to connect the world. We have signed agreements with Chile, Peru. We have been expanding into the Latin America as well as North Africa and other parts of North America. We have all along been expanding our network. I thank the member for reminding us that we need to do so, and it is especially important amid today's political climate with high geopolitical tensions. I think with expansion into new markets and of new e-commerce, it has really helped. Thank you. Professor Chow Man Kong. I want to follow up on the 3 questions that I asked. Replies 11, 12, and 14. I think with the trade war, from his first term, Mr. Donald Trump's first term to now, it has been 9 years. And the trade war will hurt both sides, but we have to fight it as long as it may have to be. We need to develop new markets. For the Belt and Road Office, I do note that in the past 2 years, the cost is approximately $40 million, and the establishment is 19, and they have 17 of the posts filled. Honestly, I'm not worried about you spending too much money. I'm worried that you don't have enough resources. You are working with working to expand into the ASEAN and the global south. The U.S. has a very high amount in debts, and they have really high interest rates. So I think it is worthwhile for us to expand into new markets, say the Middle East. So we support the Belt and Road Office to do more in expanding into the Middle East. In 2022-2023, we have the scheme to support enterprises to develop in the mainland. And I know that the TDC held 460 odd activities, and many participated. 30,000 people participated. With less funds, it will inevitably hurt their work. And we have different mainland authorities who have been actively trying to do the same work. So can we work with the mainland authorities to expand into new markets such as the Middle East and Global South? Can we do more to consolidate our resources to expand into new markets? Thank you. 2 questions, one on the support scheme for pursuing development in the mainland, the other on expanding into new markets. Secretary, thank you. With today's fiscal position, it may be hard, and the Belt and Road Office does have its budget to meet. I think we can definitely consolidate resources, ETOs, the TDC, and other parties, so that we can make good use of the resources to achieve our goals. We will also tie in with the National Development Strategy. On TDC, I will ask Margaret to give an answer. Ms. Margaret Fong, Executive Director of the TDC. Thank you. The Secretary already talked about the work of the Belt and Road Office, or in the Belt and Road countries. I appreciate the member recognize our efforts in the past few years. We have achieved good results. We have been working with mainland authorities more because we do see good results from that. So we have already had a consensus with municipal and provincial authorities to help enterprises go global as well as R&D in INT. Thank you.
無奈感，我不如
Well, I feel the helplessness from the Secretary. Perhaps I will ask the FS and the CE to give them more resources. In the Special Finance Committee meeting this week, most of the voices I've heard are calls to cut expenditure. It's very rare that I hear from members that they ask for increase in resources. I hope that that will happen. Thank you very much. Next, Mr. Dennis Leung. Is a question from me is 047 and 48 in relation to the real name registration for SIM cards. Since it was launched, well, there is no requirements for verification of information by these operators. The real name registration program came into operation on the 24th of February 2023. I'd like to ask if the Communication Authority has conducted any due diligence. I asked the question. The reply was that there are only 150 times when it was done. Well, perhaps they should not rely on district councillors to carry out the work for them. My second question is about Bud Fund. The government asked the Productivity Council to be the secretariat to handle the program. I asked if the programs helps. The reply is that it helps with 99%. I said, does it help long term? The reply is that, well, it's 99%. I think the most important thing of Bud Fund is to help enterprises to enhance their businesses. So will you review the performance of the Productivity Council to ensure that the fund is well used so that the resources will not be wasted? First question is in relation to real name registration. For that question, I will defer to the Office of the Communications Authority to answer. About Bud Fund, I will defer to the Trade and Industry Department Director. In relation to the real name registration program, in October last year, we have added I Am Smart as a default registration platform. We want to enhance the program. On top of that, we carry out manual check as well. When a registration is made, the operator will have to manually verify the registration to see if it is in order. We have rejected about 4.3 million registration requests. In our random checks, we found that about 3.2 million SIM card registrations are irregular, or that they have failed to answer our questions. As a result, they have been cancelled. In relation to our cooperation with district legislators, we have garnered 150 ward offices with 300 district councillors and their assistants acting as our district anti-phone deception ambassadors. Since last year, we have been staging street booths with district councillors to enhance our public education. We want to help the public better understand how to identify phone scams and how to make use of anti-scam softwares. Regarding the BUD, the Bud Fund, we'll have to ensure that it is well used. The applications are vigorously vetted. From the department, we have Tier 1 vetting, and there is also interdepartmental processing. We ask the other departments for their input. There is also a committee who works with us. They are members from the sector. We want to make sure that our work will actually help the trade. There are checks and on-site visits and inspections. Whereas we've said in our reply, 99% of the time we have assisted successfully businesses to upgrade and transform. We also conduct a survey. 70% of the respondents said that after 1 year they continue to put in resources and expand their businesses in places where there is an investment agreement or FTAs. Mr. Edmund Wong, I would like to follow up on 087, a question from mine that is in relation to the financing scheme for SME for 24-25 at the revised estimate about $7.66 billion. They are for helping enterprises to pay for processing fees, administration fees for new registration and repayment of bad debt, but there is no breakdown. So in relation to the special guarantee scheme, what is the percentage of bad debt? What is the current repayment situation? What is the current bad debt rate? The other one is also from mine, 105. The reply says that, in Riyadh, Kuala Lumpur, there will be ETOs set up to enhance network in ASEAN countries as well as the Middle East. I would like to know about progress. When will these ETOs be commissioned? We hear recently that there are politicians calling for the closure of ETOs. What's your response plan? Will you consider diverting the resources to explore Middle and South African markets? I will first answer the part relating to ETOs. Well, the progress for the Malaysian ETO is good. We're working at full steam. In relation to Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, we are taking our work forward. We need to have discussions on a number of areas. Progress in Malaysia is indeed good. When the member mentioned about calls for closure of our 3 ETOs in the US, we've closely followed the situation. We have put in place the worst-case scenario plan. We have a contingency plan in place. It is rather premature at this stage to disclose any information, and it is not appropriate to divulge any information. But I'd like to tell members that we have done everything we can. What about the SME financing guarantee scheme? In relation to that, I will defer to the Deputy Secretary, Ms. Lau. Since the scheme was launched in 2020, the cumulative bad debt stands at 14%. That is at the end of 2022. Mr. Wong asked for the figures of 2024. The bad debt is about $10 billion. May I ask a supplementary question? Yes. Well, the reply was that the one they had was 25%. That's set at the outset. Well, has the estimate changed as a result? Well, after the scheme has been running for a few years, we still assume a rate of 25%. But the rate of bad debt depends on the economic situation and changes in business operations. Next, Mr. Jimmy Ng. I would like to follow up on 066. Well, with the trade war, would there be a direct mechanism put in place? The reply is that they have been contacting stakeholders and the sectors through various platforms. However, information changes rapidly. Sometimes the business sector is caught off guard. So will there be a mechanism that is cross-departmental put in place so that there'll be a direct dialogue that will respond very quickly and directly to the needs of the sector? I thank the CE for putting in place measures to help the sector to fight the trade war. Well, one of them is support of credit insurance. The ECIC has launched new measures. I thank them for their swift response. But will the government reconsider enhancing the 100% guarantee scheme to enhance the capabilities of exporters in dealing with the situation? The other ones are 063 and 064. That is the upper limit of Bud Fund e-commerce easy. I think in actual fact, the sum of subsidy has been reduced. It was revised from 1 to 3, and the subsidy was reduced from 1 million to 800,000. The government said that there will be supporting measures put in place to help SMEs. Now the situation's changed. Will the government consider enhancing the subsidy ceiling of Bud Fund? A number of questions. They are about the trade war, the 100% financing guarantee scheme, as well as the Bud Fund. Contact with the business sector is led by our bureau. We've had 2 meetings. The focus was on the trade war. If need be, with the leadership of the FS, we will be able to have very close contact with the business sector under the established mechanism. Currently, we contact chambers of commerce and trade associations to get to know the situation they're in, hopefully to put in place support to help them. About the ECIC, I will defer to the Commissioner, Mr. Chiu, of the Export Credit Insurance Corporation. I thank the member for his question. In relation to the 100% financing guarantee scheme, it was funded by the Anti-Epidemic Fund during COVID. It was very successful. Given the current physical situation, I think we are able to make use of our reserve to tackle it. The credit amount has been on the increase. There is a 7% increase in our credit rate. It's currently at a very high level given our 59 years of history in new emerging markets, say for example the Middle East. The credit level has been on the increase. We'll closely monitor the situation. We will not tighten our credit requirements or assistance. Perhaps in relation to Bud Fund, we'll hear from the Director General of the Trade and Industry Department. We've received a large number of applications. It's on the increase. However, we need to have a focus. We don't just reduce the amount. We also relax our requirements. Well, for micro and SMEs, we have increased the ceiling, and we have also increased the frequency of applications that they can make. We have put in the guideline that when they set up new service units in emerging countries, they can get subsidy from Bud Fund. However, given the complicated situation, we closely monitor the situation. will continue to talk to the sector. If need be, we will review or adjust our schemes to better meet the needs of the sector.
Thank you. Next to speak, Mr. Martin Liao. Thank you. President Donald Trump, the U.S. president, has significantly increased tariffs for China. It has disrupted the order of world trade. As an external economy, Hong Kong is definitely affected. But with challenges come opportunities. I think it is the right time for us to make changes. In this year's government work report, we have the country talk about boosting consumption. There are some specific measures, for example, enhancing the quality of consumption and have more diversified consumption scenarios, etc. I believe the country will have even more measures launched in future on expanding into other markets. Will the government research the latest trends in the mainland to help enterprises in Hong Kong develop products tailored to the new trends? How can we also deepen cooperation so that we have more channels to sell local products in the mainland? Thank you. Secretary, we have a dual circulation strategy in the country, domestic and international circulations. We have, with the signing of CEPA, 150 odd service industries can enter the mainland market. In the policy address and budget, we talked about expanding the mainland market as well, and we have all along been trying to help local companies expand into the mainland market, and the TDC and Invest Hong Kong have been doing much. We also have helped enterprises through CEPA enter the mainland market, and that will also benefit the mainland economy. We will try to make sure to tie in with the national strategy of boosting the economy and consumption through internal circulation. And I think with developing silver economy, we can work together as well. So with Invest Hong Kong TDC, the TID, we can all work together to meet the needs of the mainland consumers. I think we can have more measures to better leverage on our situation and our advantages. We can act as a platform for overseas companies to enter the mainland market as well as mainland companies to go global. Excuse me, Mr. Lau. Yes. My questions were actually very specific. I'm not talking about expanding into the mainland market in general. I think it is about how we can meet the consumption needs of mainland consumers and how we can better meet the demand of the domestic market. It is all about supply and demand. I think the country will soon promulgate even more measures, and they have already promulgated many measures. We need to really think about how we can meet the consumption needs of the mainland market. Thank you, Secretary. We do understand what the members said, but we would need to see what measures are actually promulgated to see how we can tie in with such policies. Perhaps you can provide more information after the meeting if necessary. Thank you. Ms. Doreen Kong, I want to ask about 010 on the special 100% guarantee product. It says that there are 1,907 cases involving some illegalities, and these cases would involve $100 billion. The exploitation and abuse of the mechanism is regrettable. So for the 1,700 odd cases, 1,900 odd cases, did these involve intermediaries? Are we able to recover the losses or the amounts disbursed to these cases? Do we really have loopholes that are exploited? I also want to ask about 026 on consumer protection. We had recently an increasing number of complaints from consumers. We need to better protect consumer interests. In the reply, it only said enhancing public education and to better handle consumer complaints, but these are existing measures and policies. We have been talking about promoting silver economy and various consumer measures. Have you considered how you can better protect consumer interests? Have you considered widening the definition of unfair trading practices? Have you also considered enhancing the role of Consumer Council so that they can also take enforcement action? Thank you. All right, questions in two areas. Secretary. Thank you, Ms. Doreen Kong, for your questions. I will ask Ms. Candy Lau, Deputy Secretary 3, to answer the questions. Thank you. On the SME financing guarantee scheme, it is said that there are $5.2 billion involved in some illegal cases. We have a stringent monitoring mechanism to ensure public money is spent rightly. The participating lending institutions would do due diligence, customer due diligence, to verify their eligibility. And the HKMCI Hong Kong Mortgage Corporation Insurance Limited would then make verifications and conduct appropriate checks in vetting the applications. The HKMCI has been working closely with law enforcement agencies. If any suspected contraventions of the law are identified, the cases will be reported. And we found that for half of the amount, these cases were actually identified before the loans were dispersed. So I believe the mechanism is working effectively at the moment. As for the questions on the Consumer Council, we had recently an incident for prepaid services. We are therefore reviewing the trade description ordinance. We have been reviewing the provisions, and we have also with reference to the practices in other regions to see if we can improve our provisions. On the question on whether we can recover the $5.2 billion, well, the law enforcement agencies are currently investigating the cases, so we cannot disclose any further details at this moment. Thank you. Mr. Robert Lee, I want to ask about 042, a question asked by me. We have some measures in the policy address that would encourage enterprises to expand into new markets, including measures that would support e-commerce. And I understand that the TDC has this e-commerce express. It now has a different Chinese name, but it is the same scheme that would hold seminars, talks, that would cover some different scenarios in e-commerce and enhancing awareness on some new e-commerce models. These types of knowledge would help enterprises definitely with the imposition of the US tariffs. Can you share with us some figures, updated figures? Because we do understand that the percentage of trade with the US is not that high, but can you tell us what the latest percentage is to allay the concerns of the public? We have last year the shopping festival that was held, and we have seen multiple sectors covered. We have healthcare, pet goods, food, etc. Can you share with us some successful examples so as to encourage SMEs to make use of the e-commerce platform to expand their business? Will you also enhance communication with local chambers of commerce as well as business associations to further develop our work in this area? Thank you. All right, Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Lee, for your questions. I will first ask Ms. Margaret Fong, Executive Director of the TDC, to answer the question relating to the TDC's work on e-commerce. Thank you. I can share with you, last year we had very positive reaction for the shopping festival. We had 75% of those who participated in the festival said they were very satisfied and the platform helped them increase exposure. There are many different sectors involved, but we have seen the best work for the food sector as well as the healthcare sector in the festival. We have a company selling chips. They said they made use of the platform to have their business expanded by 135-fold just within the period alone. And that is compared to the first 7 months of their business last year. We have another company that deals with healthcare supplements. They have also seen an expansion of 211%. It is just business created within 2 days of live streaming. Let me also say this. We have seen very positive feedback. In November of last year, we had already been liaising with members of chambers of commerce and business associations to try to promote the second edition of Shopping Festival this year in August. All right, that is telling good stories of Hong Kong, definitely. All right, Secretary. We have $296 billion exports to the US, and it accounts for some 6.5% of exports. Mr. Chen Yong, I want to ask about 002, 010, and 098. We have seen the U.S. imposing crazy tariffs, 145%. We are at a trade war. How can we minimize the damage caused to Hong Kong and the country in general, so that we can conquer and win in this trade war. We have many ETOs. As the Secretary said, how can we better consolidate our efforts within the ETO network? How can we develop better the markets in the Belt and Road countries? We also have the Commissioner for Belt and Road here, so perhaps he can also answer this question. We have a 14% default rate for the special 100% guarantee product. What is the government's views on this default rate? We have new ETOs in Saudi Arabia and Malaysia that will be coming soon. How can we better consolidate our teams and flexibly deploy manpower if necessary? For those that are posted to the ETOs in the US, if the ETOs are closed, can you deploy this manpower elsewhere? Thank you.
3 questions. Exploring markets outside the US, the 100% guarantee scheme, default rate, as well as ETO talents. As I said in my opening remark, there are 16 mainland offices. Overseas, there are 14 ETOs. Invest Hong Kong and the TDC also run a total of offices in 68 cities, covering 129 countries. The 3 parties work together to further expand our trade network. Staff members are civil servants, so we can flexibly deploy staff members. There will be redeployment given the current geopolitical situation and the uncertain future of the 3 ETOs in North America. We will make plans based on our entire ETO networks. Regarding default rates of 100% loan guarantee scheme, in my reply to other members, the current default rate is 14%. We'll continue to monitor the situation. Things may change depending on the economic situation. I'll defer to my colleague. Anything to add? We'll continue to recover payment with banks. In some cases, we have taken legal action. While a lot of members have asked questions in relation to the default rate of 100% loan guarantee. Next, Mr. Dominic Lee. It's a question from me about e-commerce under the BUD Fund. In July 2024, it was launched. It's been almost a year. You said that you've only processed 67 cases. You've only approved 43 cases, some with conditions. Isn't progress a bit slow? There are a lot of social media in YouTube and Xiaohongshu. They publicize information on BUD Fund, some incorrect. In Xiaohongshu, they said that it is really good to be a Hong Kong resident. Within 15 days, you will pocket 300,000. On YouTube, you see clips saying that, if you run an e-commerce business, you will easily pocket a large amount of money. Will you target incorrect information on socials? Will you monitor the information available and, if necessary, make corrections? If it's related to e-commerce, then you can make use of the fund if you place adverts or use apps. Well, e-commerce is fully leveraged to boost their businesses. So is AI covered relating to e-commerce? On the 14th of March, you launched e-commerce easy to 10 ASEAN countries, which is a very good move. In the future, will you consider expanding e-commerce easy to Belt and Road countries? There are a number of questions. Secretary, please be succinct. I will defer to Mr. Lau, Director General of TNI. We launched e-commerce easy in July last year. We have received about 329 applications. The members write 43 of them were approved, some with conditions. The member is concerned about the number of applications being processed. The number is 183. Over two-thirds, that is 123, applications were made in the past 3 months. The cases are still being processed because the applicants have to furnish further information to us. There is a performance pledge. We'll complete the application processing in 60 days. It's a new initiative. Last month, we expanded this initiative to 10 ASEAN countries. We expect the number of applications will rise. But there'll be more applications being processed. The member talked about misleading information on socials, say Xiaohongshu. We've enhanced our cooperation with the Productivity Council. There is a SME center. There is a SME support unit. By providing further information to SMEs, there is also one-on-one advisory service. Assistance will be provided for enterprises to make applications. I thank the member for the reminder. We will, if necessary, clarify information and dispel misleading information. The member also asked about AI. Well, we are technology neutral. As long as it meets our criteria under e-commerce, even if it's the use of AI, we will provide subsidy. E-commerce easy will be expanded to 10 ASEAN countries. If necessary, we will consider further expanding it. Next, Mr. Lo Wai Kwok. Well, my question is related to the opening speech. Mr. Premier Li Qiang, in the government's work report, said that the central government supports Hong Kong to deepen collaboration with Guangdong and Macau. Now we see an insane trade war launched by the US. What Donald Trump is doing is dismantling world trade order. Our country and Hong Kong have been abiding by the rules under the order. To enhance cooperation, well, all the different aspects are important, trade in particular. I would like to ask about, how many enterprises have come to Hong Kong or our country, and how many mainland enterprises have gone out? In 2024, the Invest Hong Kong has assisted over 500, that is 539 enterprises to expand their businesses. This has exceeded the key performance indicators. The result is good, but it can be better. The deficiency is something that I mentioned a number of years ago. After enterprises have come to Hong Kong, follow-up is important. We've invested on the mainland. Mainland commerce authorities provide assistance to enterprises continuously. We don't ask for exactly the same thing, but you do need to provide something similar. You have to help enterprises take root so that they will see results. So will you be more aggressive in your approach? I have a follow-up question. The figures quoted, does it include the number of enterprises attracted to Hong Kong by the dedicated team? Secretary. To counter the trade war, the CE said in the press release that there are 7 measures. We'll make use of financial services, innovation, technology, and deepening collaboration with other places. Regarding the enterprises that we have attracted, I would like to defer to Invest Hong Kong. Well, the figures doesn't include those attracted by Oasis. We've just had a promotion event. We have signed with 16 strategic enterprises for them to come to Hong Kong. Well, let's hear from Invest Hong Kong. Well, we have been doing our work in countries other than the U.S. Well, there are a lot of enterprises from the U.S. They keep coming. It's just that they keep a very low profile. In the UK, Europe, France, and Belt and Road countries, we have seen an increasing number of enterprises coming. In the past weeks or so, a number of consulate as well as chambers of commerce told us that they would like to enhance cooperation with Hong Kong as a bridge into the mainland. We don't stop our work once they've come in. I can certainly tell you that we won't just tell them about the advantages of Hong Kong. We reach out to help them find major clients for construction companies. A lot of them are from Europe. If they would like to get more information about government infrastructure, then we will match them with family offices or investment companies. We provide a full train service, a one-stop service. We want them to come to Hong Kong and to take root. Well, if they want or plan to get listed, we provide services and match them with relevant companies. If they want to make use of Hong Kong as a base to set up manufacturing industries in Asia, then we will also provide assistance. We thank the member for his suggestion. We will do more. We will do our work in a more in-depth manner. Next, Mrs. Regina Ip. It's a follow-up question on Head 160, RTHK. If you don't have the information, you can provide it to me later. In 25-26, expenditure is over 1.5 billion. Establishment is 754, a reduction by 4 posts only. What are these 4 deleted posts? There are 3 programs under the RTHK. Education TV has been abolished. Program 2 is TV production. There are a number of channels, 31 to 35. 3 of them are just broadcast CGTN and CCTV programs. They also broadcast procured programs. Is there further reduction possibilities of their program officers? Is it possible to significantly reduce the number of program officers? This is about RTHK. I thank the member for the question. I will defer to the Director of Broadcasting. Please turn her microphone on.
Thank you, Chair. Regarding the questions of Mrs. Regina Ip on our staff cut, we answered one of the questions on this actually. We are cutting 4 posts. What are the positions exactly? In 2025, RTHK will cut 4 non-directorate civil service posts, including in Program 1, we will cut a clerical officer and program assistant. Under Program 2, we will cut, that is the TV program, we will cut a clerical assistant and artisan posts. So we will cut 4 posts. But we will review the internal structure. We do want to streamline the structure a bit more. We may cut even more positions this year. And as Mrs. Regina mentioned, maybe there would be program officers and we would have some more senior positions included. Once we have our plan, we will submit it to the CEDB. As for program purchasing, right now we have 5 digital terrestrial television channels. We would be relaying the broadcasts of CCTV. We do also procure our own programs to increase diversity of our program availability, but we do not have many of those working in purchasing. We do go with some internal guidelines when we are procuring for programs. We do have a limited number of posts within the RTHK, but we will try as much as possible to streamline our hierarchy. But you already have 700 odd people, and honestly, the broadcasting house is not that big. I do note Phoenix TV has a program that is about some stories of Hong Kong. They have been really good in promotion. Why can't we have similar programs? Can you also provide analyses on the program costs of Phoenix TV compared to RTHK? Can you provide the relevant information after the meeting? Sure, we will liaise with Mrs. Regina Ip after the meeting and provide the relevant information. Thank you, Mr. Sunny Chen. Thank you. With the imposition of crazy tariffs from the US, we can really see that enterprises are affected. With the US's inflation, it will also affect enterprises' plans to take orders from the US, especially for factories. I'm very glad that the Chief Executive promulgated 7 measures and the HKECIC, the Export Credit Insurance Corporation, promulgating some measures. But I don't think it changes the overall situation much. We probably need even more special measures. And special arrangements should be launched as soon as possible to help the enterprises affected. I want to ask about 077 and 0078 and 079. Can the ECIC really cover premiums for different clients and afford or provide insurance to different customers to cover all of those affected? Before, the government would take their time to formulate policies, but I think in future you should involve the business sectors, both the local business sector as well as the mainland business sector, to see how we can help enterprises go global and develop our role as a super connector and tap into more potential markets. Thank you, Secretary. Thank you for the ECIC. I will ask Mr. Terence Chu, the Commissioner of the ECIC, to answer the question. As for the other questions, I will ask the Permanent Secretary answer them. Thank you. Who's going to answer the questions first? Thank you. For the ECIC, mostly we were trying to provide insurance for trades involving U.S. partners. We have really seen the situation change in recent years. We have seen the mainland Chinese market quickly expanding. It now accounts for 33%. We also saw significant growth in the ASEAN market. Before, it would only account for 6%. Now it now accounts for 10%. It is definitely a significant increase, but we will not stop there. We'll continue to expand into new markets. We have also been working with the China Export and Credit Insurance Corporation to acquire their information services that would help us expand our information network. We will soon work with Thai and Sim Bank, sign an agreement with them so that we can acquire more information on Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. We will also decrease the loading, basically reducing the premium rates for new markets to be in line with those for traditional major markets to support exporters in tapping into the new markets. Thank you. Permanent Secretary. Yes. Please be brief. Thank you. We are faced with immense challenges indeed. We have been providing support to enterprises to rise up to the challenges. For the CEDB, the BUD Fund is exactly there to help different sectors to upgrade and transform. Enterprises must maintain their competitiveness by making use of technologies as well as expanding into new markets. I believe the other bureaus also have some efforts in these areas. For example, the ITIB has also been helping enterprises make use of more technologies. These are key to enhancing competitiveness. All right. Let me say this. We have 5 members who have yet to speak. Mr. Muffin Kwok, Mr. Yu Pak Leung, Ms. Yong Ho Yen, Dr. Junius Ho, and Mr. Jeffrey Lam. Let me say this. I will give you all 3 minutes to speak, and I will be strict with the time limit. I want to make sure all 5 members can speak. Please observe the time limit, members. Mr. Muffin Kwok. Thank you. Thank you. I want to ask about 057, a question asked by me on the copyright ordinance, how it can provide adequate protection still with the rise of AI. I wanted to know whether we have a need to increase manpower deployed. I note that the IPD, Intellectual Property Department, for non-directorate posts, there will actually be an increase in the coming year. So can we ensure there is adequate protection? On generative AI, the products or the content they produce, would that be protected by copyright? Right now, it is said in the reply there are no justifications for amending legislation, and we will have some guidelines instead. But with copyright infringement, have we seen any cases or litigation in these in this area? Thank you. Secretary, 2 questions. Thank you. I will ask Mr. David Wong, Director of Intellectual Property, to answer the questions of Mr. Ma. Thank you. With the amendments to the copyright ordinance, this is just a routine exercise because we have not made any changes since 1997. And as this work is routine, there's no need to increase manpower for that. As for generative AI, we actually said in the consultation paper when the ordinance was enacted in 1997, it said specifically for computer-generated content it would be protected by copyright, but the year of protection would be different. For general products, that is products content made by natural persons, it would be 50 years plus any additional conditions to be imposed. And for computer generated content, it's just 50 years. We have not seen any authorities as of yet. Thank you. Next, Mr. Yu Patling. I want to ask about 008, a question asked by Mr. Zhang Kenchil on the incentive scheme for recurrent exhibitions 2.0. I welcome this 2.0 scheme. I do appreciate the CEDB's efforts so far. From the figures of the Hong Kong Tourism Board, for overnight visitors coming here for conventions and exhibitions, we have $1.42 million, and the per capita expenditure is $7,800. And they spend money on accommodation, food, etc. And it has really helped boost the economy. We want to have more large-scale exhibitions in Hong Kong, and the challenge is we do not have enough venues. We do now have 2 more designated venues. One is in the Central Harbourfront event space. The other one is in West Kowloon. Yes, West Kowloon. We now have the Kai Tak Sports Park commissioned. If we're not holding concerts or sports events at the sports park, I think the sports park can be used for holding exhibitions. I think it's the same with cruise terminals as well. Would you consider designating more venues such as the sports park as well as the cruise terminal for holding exhibitions? Thank you. Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Yu, for your questions. I'll be brief in my response. We have multiple considerations. We do have limited number of venues, which is why we have designated 2 more venues. For Kai Tak Sports Park and Kai Tak Cruise Terminal, I think our concern is whether it is suitable for holding exhibitions. If the venues are suitable for exhibitions, we will consider designating the venues as exhibition venues. I still have some time. Can I say something? For the main stadium, I think we can put other flooring over the turf if necessary. I think you can definitely consider this. Right now, we don't have enough venues. And honestly, the recurrent exhibitions would be more likely to get the venues. For newer exhibitions. It may be hard for them to rent the right venues for them. Thank you. I think the comments are clear. Ms. Yung Ho Yan, I want to ask about 095 and 096. 095 is on the work of the Belt and Road Office. We have seen in the past 3 years many activities held and many delegations making visits. I want to ask about the plans of the administration in future, especially for professionals in law? How can you help legal professionals know more about the cultures of different places? 096 is on low Earth orbit satellites, and it is said in the policy address the application process would be streamlined. Right now, there are two pieces of legislation at play: the Outer Space Ordinance and the Telecommunications Ordinance. How can we promote the application of such licenses? I can see in the reply there were never any applications. Once we have streamlined the process, how can we ensure more companies would apply for the licenses? All right, two questions, one on the Belt and Road Office and one on satellites. Thank you, Secretary.
我諗第一條問題
For the first part, I will defer to the Commissioner for Belt and Road Office, and the other one, I will defer to the Director General of Communications. So first, Belt and Road. I thank the member for the question. And indeed, a lot of delegations will include members from professional services. On a lot of occasions, they have found business opportunities from these delegations. Other than that, we'll also attract enterprises to come to Hong Kong. Well, apart from FII, that is the Middle East Forum, we have also attracted Discover Neom to come to Hong Kong. It is the key event in the Middle East. We have seen results. Recently, there was an announcement, Deep East, a major INT event will also come to Hong Kong. It's an event from the Middle East. We will attract landmark events and activities to come to Hong Kong so that there will be better business matching opportunities. Well, currently, one satellite will have to be covered by two licenses. Well, the future direction is for one set, because for low Earth orbit satellites is based on a constellation. So it doesn't matter how many there are, they only need one license. There are companies that have, through us, made a report to the national authority and submitted the information to the international organization. We will work as a coordinator. I would like to follow up on 131132 as well as one from Mrs. Regina Ip. I see that there is a reduction in manpower. There is also a smaller volume of production. Compared to 2020, the establishment is more or less the same. The figure hovers around 740. In 2020, the expenditure of RTHK 1 year is $1.086 billion. Well, with a reduction in production and manpower, the current expenditure is $1.55 billion. Even if you take into account inflation, is about 1 to 2%. The expenditure will not rise by 50%. Mrs. Yip talked about comparison with Phoenix TV. It's a listed company. The annual revenue is about $2.4 billion. Operating cost on TV is $2.32 billion. Administrative expenditure is $420 million. It may be running at a loss, but it's very well received. The contents are really to the point, whether it's a coverage on Ukrainian war, trade war, is value for money. But they're running at a loss of mere $318 million. Well, RTHK has TV channels and radio, but we are making a loss of $1.55 billion with a very low viewership. Will you reconsider your chart your charter, the RTHK charter. You should not just keep asking for funding from the government. You have to make RTHK sustainable. Well, even without doing much, there is an increase in expenditure by about 50%. I think the responsibility should not be shouldered only by the director, it's by the entire bureau. I think the view is very clear. Let's hear briefly from the secretary. I thank Mr. Ho for raising this point. His point is very clear. We will ask the department to review their operation in relation to program production as well as manpower. We'll need time. We'll need to gather more information and talk to legislators to see how we can do better. Perhaps I will ask the Director of Broadcasting to supplement. No, time's up. The last one is Mr. Jeffrey Lam. Well, the U.S. is frantically increasing tariffs. I have made some suggestions previously. I'm glad to hear the response from the government. There are measures from ECIC, from banks, and also measures relating to attracting capital and businesses. I understand the government has done a lot of work in attracting capital and businesses. In the future, in what way can they do more working with the business sector? I received some information from the banks. They said that they will continue to provide support to their clients to face current challenges. It's comforting to hear that, but it doesn't resolve all problems because there is a backlog of shipment. You may not have to make repayment, but you need cash flow to keep your business afloat. Say, for example, continue manufacturing to export to other places. Perhaps you can ask regulators to request banks to provide special loans to help them stay afloat. My other question is about exhibition industry, Belt and Road. I understand that the dedicated team as well as Oasis have done a lot together with the Belt and Road office. Well, April is a peak time for us. I also know that the TDC has done a lot. Well, buyers from US, Europe, and the Middle East, they come to Hong Kong during this time. So will you do more in this regard so that our reliance on the US will be reduced? Secretary, the SAR government, the ECIC, and the banking sector have done a lot. We provided assistance for SMEs to obtain financing assistance. Under the relevant scheme, there is an increase of dedicated commitment from $307 billion to $390 billion. The bank has also agreed to extend the repayment period from the financing scheme by 90 or 120 days. They will also offer suitable arrangements. On top of that, there is the principal moratorium. There is a maximum 12 months of a moratorium. It's extended to September 2025. For the 80%, 90% loan guarantee scheme, the longest guarantee period is 10 years. Our bureau will work with chambers of commerce, will stay closely liaise with them. We will provide assistance as far as possible. Well, given the current trade war, there is a need for us to monitor the situation very closely. Taking into account the government's financial position and the actual situation, we will duly give consideration to various aspects. We'll continue to talk to various sectors and stakeholders to help SMEs. Well, I think you've heard the views from Mr. Lam in relation to publicity as well as exhibition. Yes, we will do better. We want to attract more overnight visitors to help tourism industry and retail industries in Hong Kong. Thank you very much. I thank the government's team as well. Well, I think everyone who's requested to speak have spoken. That's the end of this session. The next one will start at 10:50. Thank you.